It's so awesome to be here for another Knowing You show. Hi, hi. We are starting a little bit early for today's Knowing You show. I have amazing Shiraz here who I've personally experienced his awesome intuition and healing to release some subconscious stuff that had been going on for me. So I wanted to invite him to the show because he has an amazing summit coming up, a Wealthy Healers Summit. And I know some of you who are listening are healers and coaches and entrepreneurs and in the transformation industry. So I thought this would be right up your alley. So let me tell you a little bit about Shiraz. He's an award winning author, international speaker, a reality shifting specialist. Business people seek him out when a problem has become a consistent pattern in their lives that keeps them from achieving the success they desire, whether it's financial, career based, relationship based, health, or something else. Shiraz is not only able to quickly pinpoint the cause of the problem, but also to remove it, sometimes in minutes, making you feel like reality itself has shifted. So, thank you so much, Shiraz, for being here today.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
Mm. So, talk to me about your belief about the problem is the solution. What does that mean to you?
Well, that's a really, really big deal because for most people, they don't realize that that big problem that they're trying to get rid of is actually protecting them from one or more other problems. And every time you try to get rid of it, your unconscious mind is going, no, 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 this needs to stay because that's protecting me from all this stuff over here. Right? So you may be able to get it to go away for a little while, but it's just going to come back, or it just doesn't go away at all. And what I mean by other problems is a very common one I've had, especially around money, because that's one of the reasons we're doing Wealthy Healer Summit, is people are saying, I'd like to make so much more money. And when I'm talking to them, I find out, no, you don't. And they're like, yes, I do. I absolutely do. I want to make more money. And then I ask, what are you going to do with all that money? Once you have it, what's gonna happen in your life? What's it going to be like? And they're always like, it's going to be great because now I can buy the things I want. I can go on trips. I'll have the sense of freedom, and they're all happy. And then we start to dig a little deeper. And you know, how's your family going to react? And they're like, oh, they'll be happy for me. I'm like, and what else? I'm like, oh, they might start asking me for money. And I'm like, oh, and do you want to have those conversations? No, no, I don't want to have those conversations. Like, that's one of the reasons you don't want money because your subconscious is putting that conversation above, the other way, that conversation above having money. Because this is no, I don't want this much. I don't want money this much. And you don't think that consciously. You think, no, I really, really want the money. But your subconscious has other things in mind for you. And it may just not be that one belief. The money could mean a lot more work or a lot more stress, a lot more responsibility. And if you keep adding those things together, your subconscious is just sitting there going, no, 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 no money for me. No, let's keep it right where it is. Right where it is now is safe. Let's just leave it here. And again, you
Mhm.
don't realize it's happening.
Yeah, because at that subconscious level, unless you do like a ton of meditation, inner reflection, journaling, personal development work where you're trying to go in and see and hear and tune in to what's happening at that subconscious level, you don't know that it's running the show.
Mhm.
And then, you've got someone like Shiraz or me, or maybe some other healers that you work with that will say, you know what? You say you want money, but what I'm actually sensing is all your resistance. And Shiraz is brilliant at discovering that resistance. Um, Yeah, I've enjoyed what he's facilitated for me in the past. So, can you tell us a little bit about, like, what even got you into this line of work?
Oh, first of all, I've been enjoying working with you. To your session was
Oh,
amazing. So, but
thank
with,
you.
you're welcome. But with this line of work, it's been interesting because I've been sort of exploring this for a while now, and I had actually gone over to India. I used to have rheumatoid arthritis, and I went over to India and found a way to get rid of it overnight, which is one of the things that was the catalyst to what I'm doing. But when I came back, I decided, you know what? With all this stuff, I'm gonna start taking all these different courses from like the top people in the world, like Bob Proctor and John Assaraf and Joe Vitale, and change my money income reality, because I was making six figures before, and I thought, you know what? Let's go to seven figures. And so I took their courses and I took their training, and I went from six figures to zero figures.
Oh,
Right.
out.
And I'm just like, what is going on here? And here's the thing, if you go from six figures to zero figures and you're sure you're going to get back up to six figures, you keep spending like you're making six figures, and you find yourself in debt really, really
Oops.
quickly.
Mhm.
And so after a year, I'm like, what the hell? And I'm thinking, is all this crap, does this not work? Because it's not working for me. Why am I making zero? And so I said, okay, but these guys are world renowned. I get a good feeling off them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of my friends and I'm going to say, listen, I'm going to coach you for a year using these techniques, and I want to see if you get some results. And they're like, how much do we have to pay? I said, nothing, because this is an experiment. So they said, okay. Every one of them saw results. One of them 10 times his income from what they were teaching. So I'm like, okay, so Bob's right, Joe's right, John's right. They know their stuff. It's just not working on me, right? And I
Mhm.
know there's some people out there that go to coaching programs, they don't get the results. They try all these new things, they don't get results. And it's like, so what's going on? What's happening here? So I started experimenting with all these different modalities. And when I'm using them, I could get results on my friends, but not really on me. And then I started to rip them apart and say, what's the essence of this? What is really going on here? And how can I make this simple, quick, and easy? And I created this thing called energetic magic. And
Mhm.
and you've experienced it. It's very simple. We talk a little bit and then things shift, right?
Right.
And then,
You
yeah,
get these, bits of inspiration or intuition about what is going on in people's subconscious.
yeah,
And I don't know, maybe later if you're interested, you could demo for us so people
okay,
can get a feel for you.
we could do that.
Okay.
And yeah, and then so I was doing this, I was practicing it, and I was trying it out on friends. And then one of my friends, because I just was still just goofing around with this and thinking I'm using this to increase my money in my regular business, which was computer programming, design, project management stuff.
Mhm.
But then one of my friends said, you know, you could make money doing this. People will pay you for this. And I'm like, no, they won't. This is just a thing, right? And she's like, no, people will pay you for this. And so then I said, let's just see. And I just threw an arbitrary number down, and thinking that was a lot of money. And I go, I'll charge $100 an hour. Let's see if anyone pays. And then people just started dropping $100 bills in my hand. And I'm like, oh my God, this is a business. Right.
Uh-huh.
And so since then, the business has grown, things have gotten better. And it was just sort of me getting sort of thrown into this, almost like it was almost like not even on a dare, but it was me trying to prove my friend wrong that I couldn't make money, and I started making money.
Mhm.
And that was like right in the midst of me not making money for almost 2 years. And it was just crazy. But now I see the results I get. I see how people change. It's so fulfilling that I don't want to go back to the old thing. I love where I am now, and I just want to amp it up, have it grow, and help more people.
Nice.
So
Hmm.
that's how I got into this.
Mhm. And, like, what do you sense? What do you see or feel when people say that they want something, but they're really resisting it? at a subconscious level? Like, what kind of stuff do you, notice?
So it's actually it can be different every time. Most of the time, I just feel a heaviness in the energy. But I've just basically said to my body, to the universe, however it wants to show up, let it show up that way. So sometimes it's, oh, I just feel heaviness. Sometimes it's a little voice going, no, 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 they're lying. Right? Or it's just that thing comes up, ask them about this, right? And so they could be talking completely off on another topic, and I'm just getting this other message. One woman, I remember I was working with her, and we're going on about stuff in her career and trying to fix that.
Mhm.
And then I kept seeing an image of a suitcase. And I'm like, why am I seeing an image of a suitcase? This has got nothing to do with what we're talking about. But it kept showing up. And then I said, you're getting the image, you got to ask about the image. So I was going to say, what the suitcase? So does the suitcase mean anything to you? But what came out of my mouth was, who are you putting in your suitcase and taking with you wherever you go? Right. And I like, as soon as I said it, I'm like, why the hell would I say that? Right. And she looked at me with just this gleam in her eyes, like complete knowing, oh yeah, my roommate. And I'm like, that made sense to you? And she said, yeah, because whenever I'm going on a trip, my roommate always gives me travel advice. So I say to myself, it's like putting her in my suitcase and taking her with me. And I'm like, oh my God. Right. So, and then that led us to talking about her roommate, and she had to clear some beliefs around that relationship. So that's why we were trying to work on her business thing. And I was getting told, no, work on this. This is where the problem is. And that led to an amazing session.
Mm, love it. Yeah, it's so interesting when, guidance comes through, and there's things that come out of my mouth too when I'm teaching, and I'm like, "Where did that come from? Oh, that was gold." Like, or why did I say it like that? And
Mhm.
then it was just perfect for how it landed on the other end, you know?
Yeah. And this is why I've learned to record everything, because there's been a few classes where someone comes up to me and says, that thing you said 10 minutes ago was absolutely brilliant. Could you repeat it? And I'm like, I have no idea what I said. It was just coming through, and now it's gone. Right. So
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I totally get it. So, you also I wanna touch on your expertise in shifting reality, and I know you even wrote a book on it. So can you talk to us about what that means to you?
okay. You know what? I just happened to have it here. How to rewrite reality. So shifting reality is, I mean, it's the crux of everything I do. I'm a reality shifting specialist. And the thing I found is you could have 10 people in the same room having that same experience, like from an observer's point of view, but to each of them, it's 10 different realities and 10 different things are going on. And you don't realize it until you come out of the room, and some people have discussions like, oh, that was an amazing thing, or that sucked. This guy really hated me. No, that person actually really liked you. And all these different stories are running, creating the reality for each person. And it's crazy because two people could be in the same situation experiencing different reality, to the point where people exist and don't exist. And it seems weird, but it's because your mind filters what it says is part of your reality. And sometimes you can even alter that reality. And so, to give you an example, this is actually in my book. There was one time I was at a singles event, and we had different people at different tables, and I happened to be at a table with three other guys and two girls, so four guys, two girls.
Mhm.
And for some reason, the guys started talking about sports with each other at a singles event when there's two girls at the table. I don't know what was going on there. So I'm left talking to the two girls, and we're chatting away, we're having a good time. And then one of them says, you know what the big problem is with being a single woman? She goes, there's twice as many single women as there are single women as there are single men. So anyway, we have half the amount of people to choose from. We have to fight over the men because there's so many fewer single men than single women. And I looked at her and I said, "What are you talking about?" Right? And I said, "We live in a city of 5 million people and it's about equal men and women. So unless someone's hoarding all these men from you, it's about 50-50. It's not 2 to 1." And then she said, "No, because even right now, look at our situation. There's two of us and one of you. There's twice as many women as there are men." And I went, "There are three other men at this table. There are actually twice as many men at this table than there are women." And it was like she saw them for the first time. She just looked up, and it's like her brain broke in that moment because I just destroyed her reality of what was going on. And that's what happens. She didn't see three guys 5 feet away from her because it didn't match her reality.
Mhm.
Right? It's crazy. And then you can, once you start bringing evidence to the contrary, you can start to shift that reality, and people can start to see things a different way. But here's the thing, I don't think she saw it a different way after that. She was just going to put that as an outlier in her brain. So it still didn't matter with her reality and go back to seeing what she wanted to see everywhere.
Mhm.
That's different realities in the same place.
Mhm. I know when you worked with me, I was resisting fitness.
Mhm.
Like, even though, like, I have a personal trainer, have a physical therapist, there's people that are helping me to be accountable,
Yep.
and I was even resisting it, right? Even though I had some support. And then, we worked on some things, and since then, I've been doing more fitness, and it feels great.
Nice. All
Right.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't even remember what it was that came up that was in my reality. Oh, I know. It was like the judgments that I had about like those athletic people or those like gym bunnies,
Yeah.
that had to be cleared in order for me to be willing to do it. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really interesting what shows up. I mean, it's not always something that we are aware of or make
Mhm.
sense until it does.
Yeah.
So, why do you think some people are just so like addicted to their story, to their beliefs, addicted to the drama, addicted to staying stuck? Like maybe that's their comfort zone. And so they think at a conscious level they want to change, but everything else in their being is saying,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there's a few reasons, and one thing is with drama. Drama is addictive. Like, so that's why we
Lordy.
have so many shows with all the drama in it. Everyone's just riveted, right? Those
Yep.
reality shows, they're just based on creating drama, and everyone's watching them. And so people think that in order to have a fulfilling life, you've got to have drama in it. But you can have a fulfilling life by just watching other people's drama and enjoying peace in your life. Right.
Mhm.
So I still watch a lot of these shows and I see the drama going on. But with my life, yeah, it pops up once in a while, but for the most part, things are good. But the other thing is you like drama itself is addicted, but you're addicted to your current life as it is right now. And most people don't get that. And for one thing, any habit you have is an addiction. That's all a habit is. It's a powerful addiction. And sometimes habits are good, like brushing your teeth in the morning. You want to keep that addiction, right? You call it a habit, but it's an addiction. Keep that one. That's good. But there's other ones that you have that just don't work for you, but they're comfortable. You keep doing them, you're used to them. And so that addiction stays. But there's also addiction to how things work in your life. So if you have an addiction to your partner's cheating on you, you have an addiction to the amount of
Mhm.
money you have, if you have an addiction to not being seen by people or not being heard by people. And some of them sound weird, like, why would I have an addiction to someone cheating on me? But once something happens and it starts to repeat, what happens is there's actually physical consequences of that. So number one is when you have a story and you talk about that story and you recognize that story, every time that story plays out, you get a hit of dopamine because you get to be right. Right.
Mhm.
So, oh, my another partner cheated on me. You're like, damn it, why? But underneath, it's like, I was right. See this one too, just like the last one. This happens every time. So you keep getting hit by dopamine every time something plays out, and you create a dopamine addiction to that situation. Now, the interesting thing is you can create dopamine addictions to positive situations as well, but a lot of people have more negative dopamine addictions than positive ones. The other thing is there's a neurological addiction physically in your brain because every time a story plays out, you grow neurons to store that information in your brain. You
Mhm.
grow neurons to store that story in your brain. So the more and more it plays out, the more neurons there are. And here's the thing, your brain likes to be organized. So it takes similar neurons and groups them together. So now instead of these little streams of consciousness, you've got this river of consciousness. And and so you think about it more, you remember the past times more, you project it into the future more, and you react from it more because that's it. That's the addiction you've got. So to get out of it, you've got to start breaking up those neurons and start creating a new story with positive story, like a positive stories, better neurons, and get addicted to that instead. And it's basically like taking it and doing this. But the problem is you're here and you start to do this, and then you think you're okay because some things change in a little way, and then you just let this go back up. And then you might do it a little again, and then it goes back up. And if you don't do enough, it's just going to keep going. It's like playing a game of Jenga and you're pulling out blocks, pulling out blocks. But if you don't pull out enough to have the whole thing topple, you're going to start putting blocks in and rebuilding the tower.
Mhm. Yeah, I was telling a client yesterday who was complaining about how long it's taking to clear all this stuff, and she's been working on it for so many years, and I was like, "Yeah, but the story and belief and habit that you created is like the size of a skyscraper, and you've only done enough work to clear out a cottage." They're
Yeah.
like, "Great job on the cottage, but
Yeah.
you still have a skyscraper."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done a similar thing. And I said, let's just say that we've cleared out a year's worth of beliefs, everything that happened during that year. How old are you? Like, because I don't work with a lot of 3-year-olds because, there's not much to clear there. But
Uh-huh. So, do you think it's important that people are open and receptive and willing to take responsibility and, you know, align
yeah.
their subconscious with their conscious desires and goals?
Oh, I mean, it's so important. And it's so important to take responsibility for what's showing up in your life and take action to change that. And the one thing I have when I'm working with my clients is I have to keep reminding them this is your journey. This is your decision to change because a lot of them when they see the results, especially if they felt the shifts, they can get into this thing that, oh, Shiraz, just shift me, and I'm like, I'm not shifting you. I'm making you aware of the problem and asking, are you willing to change it? I'm never saying I'm doing it for you, right? And it's very clear in the languaging I use. And so I said, when you start to think, oh, I just need Shiraz to shift it for me, and it's all on me, it's not going to work anymore because you've taken yourself out of the loop, right? And I have to go that over that every now and then with different clients. But when they're fully invested, they get the biggest changes, right?
Mhm.
And it's neat because the clients I've had that have had the biggest changes when we're having a conversation. It's a different conversation. The people that don't get it will be like, why is this happening to me? Why are all these people doing this? Or am I treated this way? And the people that really understand it go, why am I creating this? What's going on inside me that's caused me to create this? I'm like, good, you get it, you own it. Now we can move it. Right.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Out of curiosity, would you like to demo what
Sure.
that looks like to people?
Let's do it.
Um,
What do you want to work on?
ah, okay. I'm resisting cooking for myself, like cooking healthy meals.
Mhm.
I I know that my body, like, really craves homemade soups. Like,
Mm.
that is what has me sing, but it also takes some time
Yeah.
to, like, cook healthy meals. Like, it takes a lot more time, in my opinion, to cook healthy meals than it does to cook shitty meals or, like, foods that have processed food in it, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, 'cause,
I'd
mac
like to
and
let go
cheese,
of my
8 minutes,
resistance. Yeah.
right?
I mean, pasta's like 10 minutes or less,
Yeah.
come on, and it tastes good, but yeah.
Okay. So, for the audience, the way this works is we have this conversation, and when I'm talking to her, I can tell when her conscious beliefs match her unconscious beliefs. So I know whenever they're not in alignment, which means she's unknowingly lying to herself. Right? And I'm just going to keep calling her. Okay, that's coming up as a lie, or that's not coming up as true. I'm pretty gentle with most of my clients. Some of my clients, I'm really close to them, so I'm like, oh, you are lying your ass off. Right? So, but we've got that relationship. So, but once we get to the lie, then we're going to trace it to the belief that's creating the lie. And when I get to the belief, I'm going to ask, are you willing to destroy the belief? Or if it's a story, which is a belief that repeats over and over and over again, I'll say, are you willing to step out of that story? And when you say yes, it shifts. And I remember, you're the one saying yes. I'm not moving it. This is all on you. Right? But that yes causes the neurons to break down. It causes the energetic shift. It can cause emotions to be released. All sorts of things can happen. And we're just going to play with this and go through it. Now, this is interesting. Why is cooking not joyous?
It feels like work.
Okay, whose story is it that cooking is work?
I see an image of my dad.
Okay. So are you willing to step out of his story that cooking always feels like work?
No.
No, yeah, I could feel that was a hard no there. Right? So here's a big thing though. When you're cooking and you're enjoying it, and this is a really important thing a lot of people don't know, your emotions go into the food as you're cooking.
Yep.
Okay. So if you're having fun cooking, you're actually putting joy into the food. When you're grateful for what you're eating, you're putting gratitude into the food.
Mm.
And then that energy changes the water molecules in the food. If you've ever seen the work of Dr. Emoto, where
Oh,
he
I love
freezes
his
things,
work. Mhm.
yes. So we know that thinking good thoughts makes these beautiful snowflake crystals when water freezes. So it's chemically changed what water looks like. And if we feel like crap, we're putting that. So if you're cooking food and you're like, oh my God, I've got to cook the food, then of course, even then, you don't want to eat that food because
I can
it's not,
taste it. Like, I
yeah,
can taste
it'll be in the flavor.
when a chef is feeling joy and love while making the food versus, being angry and pissed off and,
Yep.
this is an inconvenience and blah, blah, blah.
Yep. So that's the thing. If I go to a restaurant and I can hear the chef yelling, I walk right out of the restaurant. I'm like, nope, not doing that. But when I cook, I turn on the music and I get into it and I'm
Mm,
dancing and I'm cooking and I'm putting that all in the food. And then when I'm eating the food, I'm savoring it. I'm putting that energy of love and gratitude into the food that's in my mouth and it's going in my body. And so as a result, I'm getting healthier by eating that food. And when you're cooking from scratch, all that love goes in if you're in love with cooking from scratch. But the other thing is, if you're doing something like playing music and dancing while you're cooking, you've just changed it into this wonderful experience where you're having fun. And
mhm,
the belief coming from your dad that it's not fun would make you cook, and you're like, oh, I've got to cook. You're not even going to try to put the joy into the experience because it doesn't match the story.
mhm.
So what if I think there's a book called The Joy of Cooking. What if that could be your
I think I
story?
have that book
Okay.
actually from when I
Yeah. I think I want to get a book called The Real Joy of Cooking and just have, instructions on how to have more fun while you're cooking and just have a little like a USB with music on it. Put this in while you're cooking and just dance and have fun. So this is this is the big strong thing coming from your dad is that it's not even that it's not fun. You're not supposed to have fun. So are you willing to step out of the story that you're not supposed to have fun while you're cooking?
Okay. Okay.
Ooh, I forgot to mention that I cough when things shift. Yeah, there we go.
I think I also need to actually schedule it on my calendar.
To cook?
Mhm.
Okay. Why is that?
Because I've been working a lot.
Okay.
I've had so many emergency cases, like people with COVID and in, urgent care and emergency on top of my normal types of healings that I've been working till between midnight to 4 in the morning,
Okay.
6, 7 days a week, and I haven't allocated time to cook.
Okay. It feels like there's a little bit more there because the first thing I'm gonna it is are you creating more course cases to distract you from being able to cook?
Mm, it is a nice diversion.
Mhm. It's funny
Like,
because you
well,
say
if
that,
it's a, emergency, then
then
I
you
best
have
do
to.
it.
Yeah, you have to, right? But think about it, those emergencies, like you've got to put that effort into it, like managing that person who's in that state. And you're actually saying, I'd rather do that than cook. Right?
Yeah, how crazy is that?
Yeah.
I'm like, I'd rather help someone who's have severe COVID
Yeah.
than cook a freaking healthy meal. What the
Yep.
hell? Okay, sis, come on now.
Okay. So are you willing to step out of the story that you have to find any way you can to distract yourself from cooking?
Most of me.
Most of you. And this is important because we're dealing with her cooking right now, but I know people are watching have distractions from the things that they think I need to do this or I should be doing this, but no, I can't because of this and this and this. This is the same principle. What are you doing? What are you willing to create to avoid this one thing? And I've seen people create all sorts of work emergencies, illness, just problems with the family, and it's just like I keep needing to do it, but this came up, and this came up, and this came up. So let's try it again. Are you willing to step out of the story that you have to do whatever it takes to distract yourself from cooking healthy meals?
Yes. Mm, mm.
That's better. And this one might go a little deeper, um, but it's coming up. Do those distractions distract you from something else that you don't want to do or deal with?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. Are you willing to step out of the story that you need to use them to keep you from dealing with that as well?
Yes. Mm.
Oh,
Mm. Mm.
okay. How's that feel?
Better.
Cool. All right. So that's what I do. And I am going to be doing some of this at the summit too. The VIPs will get to work with me. So it'd be nice if they could work on me. Yeah, you guys come into the summit and clear stuff for me.
And I went ahead and I put the link in the description for this as
Thank
well
you.
as up on the screen so that people can sign up and participate in your summit. So, what kinds of people are going to be speaking and on what kind of topics do you know
So,
offhand?
so it is the Wealthy Healers Summit. So there will be a few wealthy healers to say, look, you can do it. It's cool. I enjoy it. Don't worry about it. And work a little bit on the mindset of the people. But there's way more people there that know how to run a business, because I found a lot of healers don't know how to run a business. They just heal and collect money, heal and collect money. That's not really a business, right? So there's going to be people there to teach you how to write a book, how to create a course, how to do a podcast, how to leverage your clients, how to do proper copy, how to, like, everything there is to really running a business. And of course, I'm co being it is co-hosted. It's not just my summit. I'm doing it with Courtney Lyons, who is an automation specialist. And she's been working with me in my business, and she's taken hours of work out of my business per week. Okay, so she's going to be there teaching you how to take all these things that you're doing manually in your business and automate them. So you have way more time to focus on the thing you love, which is working with the clients, and less doing all the tedious stuff. So when you
Nice.
get me on the mindset and her on the business mechanics, you can just start running with your business. So I'm so happy to be working with her on this, and we think between the two, the business and the spirituality, uh, we got you covered. And some of these people that are coming in are so amazing in their fields. A few of them are my personal coaches. They're seven-figure earners, and they coach me how to get my business to that level. And so
Nice.
they're going to coach you guys on the same stuff.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for coming on today. And most definitely go to the link here and sign up because Shiraz and the people who are in that summit have gold for you. I actually would love to be a contributor in future summits along that nature. It just I couldn't fit it in this month, but I fully support him and what he's doing and love his work. So check out Shiraz. And I
And
also put in the description a link to his book on shifting your reality so you can get that. Um, yeah, what were you gonna say?
I'm just saying, I'm so grateful for you for your promotion of this summit, even though you're not even in it. And when we do it again, we're definitely going to have you as a speaker. But thank you so much for that.
My pleasure. All right, much love and blessings. Have a beautiful rest of your week. Bye.